Daith da, Nakan. Welcome to podcast number 94. Well, we've had a pretty busy week since last week when I spoke to A, and we did actually have a service up Davidstow Church, followed by a burial at Bethel. Now, up until when I interviewed Bill Pierce a few episodes ago, I didn't actually know that this Bethel existed. As you may have heard in previous podcasts, there is a Bethel over St Austell, where all of Mother's side come from on the Lockett side. So to hear there was another Bethel, it did surprise me, but I've done a bit of research since, and actually there's quite a few Bethels. It was mentioned in the Bible, different locations in the Bible where it was. There's a few Bethels in America as well, and it actually means, it's from the Hebrew, house of God. So I tell you what, not only are you getting bilingual now with Cornish, I'm teaching the Hebrew now as well. But so house of God, that's what it means. Anyway, this Bethel, well, it isn't all that's there really, is the chapel and the little schoolroom beside and the cemetery. And I was talking to people there in the church. I said, well, you know, what's the nearest village or hamlet sort of thing? Because I went the day before and sussed it all out. And they said, well, Trelash is the nearest really. I don't know what Trelash means. I know that we always had the slang. If you was going out for a heavy drinking session, you was on the lash. But I don't think it's got nothing to do with that. Trelash. If anybody knows where that name come from, let us know and I'll mention it next week. But it was very interesting to discover another Bethel and go to it last Friday. Friday afternoon, I did manage to get my hair cut, which is getting a bit of a regular occurrence now. Up until recently, I used to have my hair cut twice a year, whether I needed it or not. But I seem to be getting it cut a lot more frequently these days, shall I put it that way. And I noticed there are a few of the grey hairs have started to appear, or as they always used to call it, churchyard blossom. If your hair was going grey, that was the sign, churchyard blossom. But Saturday, we did manage to get out on the push bikes, and then the usual paperwork and that I did after that. Sunday, we went over to Mount Edgcumbe Hospice. So for those of you that ain't in Cornwall and don't know about Mount Edgcumbe, it comes under Cornwall Hospice Care. And you got Mount Edgcumbe, and then you got St Julia's Hospice as well down west. And I'm always in awe of the people that work there. They're fantastic. It's a charity, a Cornish charity, and it provides end-of-life care for people with terminal illnesses. And as you can imagine, over the years, I've been there lots of times. But this Sunday, thankfully for a change, it was a happy occasion. Now, Derek Bishop and his partner is my Auntie Marina, so there's a connection there. Derek got wonderful gardens, the Fontana Gardens at Trenithan Manor. And I think the story goes that, I don't know if he was looking on the Chelsea Flower Show, I think they go up there and have a geck around there. And he thought he'd like to do a garden there. Well, I don't know whether it was, I think it's quite expensive to do that. But then I think he saw Gardener's World, a BBC Gardener's World, and they do a kind of a smaller version of that. And he thought he would like to do a garden there to go on display, which he did. And he got, I think 'tis Kim Parrish. She's a Vidi gardener she is. He got her involved. And between them, they designed and she created this garden. But they both thought that it would be such a shame to do this garden and then it just gets dismantled and split up. The plants get sent here, there and everywhere. So Derek had the idea. I think he approached Mount Edgcumbe because they had a bit of land there. Garden, I don't think was over spectacular. And he said, could we recreate this garden in Mount Edgcumbe Hospice? And they said, yes, that would be fantastic. Basically, it's for the people that are there, the patients, that if they want to, they can go out and sit in this garden. And the project is quite a bit bigger than what they actually did for the Gardener's World. But we were all invited out on Sunday for the grand opening, and 'tis called the Fontana Tranquility Garden at Mount Edgcumbe Hospice. And I did put a few photos on my Facebook. Truth is, I think I put more of my family on because I had quite a few cousins there, which was lovely to meet up with they. I did put a couple on of the garden, but the garden is fantastic. And there was lots of coverage. The media was there. So I'm sure if you Googled it, you could find more about it. But it's a beautiful place, and it's a real lovely addition for those people that are at Mount Edgcumbe Hospice. And what I thought was a lovely touch too was that the garden was dedicated to Marina's sister, Shani, who sadly passed away and was cared for there at Mount Edgcumbe. But well done, Derek. I think Derek, is he 91 or 92 now? Fantastic man for his age. He really is. And what a lovely gesture that was. And I say the sun was shining, 22 watt. It was perfect weather, really. And there was a nice little number there. And like I said, it's a fantastic addition to Mount Edgcumbe Hospice. So as well as seeing me cousins on that side of the family on Sunday, we was out Tuesday evening because we got a nephew home from New Zealand for a week or two, and he was going back, and he said to be nice for us all to meet up. And while we was out eating, just across the room from us was other cousins, Keith and Kath, which is on the Powell side. So it was nice to have a yarn with they too. And last night we was over at the Eden Project near Snowstall and Penwithwick, between Penwithwick and Snowstall, I'd say, coming from our way. And for those of you that don't live local, I think, what on earth's the Eden Project? Well, it was actually created in a disused clay pit, because we got all the China clay. I might have talked about China clay before. And it was reclaimed, this clay pit, and there's all like biomes there, and they house thousands of different plant species. Tim Smith started it up. I might actually do a thing on the Eden Project. I won't go on too much tonight, otherwise we'll never get round to Hazel. But 'tis quite a place, really. What they've also started doing is having pop groups there playing. And in fact, I am out there this Saturday. They got Manic Street Preachers and Suede, double header, proper job. So we're out there for that. But anyway, I'll talk about that next week. But we was out there last night for Maben's prom. 'Tis the last of her childs now have left school, and her prom was last night, which coincided with her oldest grandson, Jesse, collecting his school uniform yesterday, and he starts school in September. And 'tis quite a thing, really. They roll out the red carpet, and then all the children, school children, perhaps I shouldn't call them children anymore, they all turn up in different cars, different modes of transport, and they have their prom. And then after that, you pick them up. Dear old Beth, she did it this time. Quite often I do the runs, but dear of her, she went and picked Maven up at 11, back here, quick change, and then an after prom party. So I think she got home about 3 o'clock. So anyway, that was yesterday. Today have been a varied day for me, because this morning I actually went to a funeral. And you might say, what the hang's he on about? He goes to funerals every day. Well, this is a funeral that I went to that we won directing. And in the 41 years that I've been doing this, I think I could count on one hand how many funerals I've been to that we haven't directed. But this was for an old family friend. Well, I've known him 40 years. Father knowed him before that. And he was born and bred in Plymouth. Lived Plymouth all his life. And sadly, he was took poorly, well, not too long ago, really, just a few weeks ago, and he passed away. So me and Beth, we went up to Weston Mill this morning for John's funeral, and 'tis interesting, really, to see how other funeral directors do it. But even though I was just there in an unofficial capacity, you can't help yourself. And you're thinking, you look at your watch and thinking, hang on, Earth should be arriving now. Where's he to? Oh yeah, here he comes. And then we've been to Weston Mill a few times, but not that often. I would say half a dozen times in my working life. And I'm not sure how long their time slots are. Like at Glyn Valley and Penmount, you're allowed a half hour. And I'm not sure, Trustworthian, is that half hour or 40 minutes? I'm not too sure. But you're allowed a half hour in the chapel. Now, Medi today, the service was going on and we were still in there 39, 40 minutes. And when it was getting about 25 past, I was looking at my watch thinking, hang on, we're going to overrun here. And you just can't help yourself. You don't turn off, like, you know. But 'twas a lovely service. And Johnny was a darling, absolute darling, a real gentleman. And I know we'll miss him. And so rest in peace, John. But yeah, that was my morning this morning. And then this afternoon, we had a service at Innis Chapel, and then the burial was at Innis. Now, Innis Chapel in the cemetery there. And Innis is a little gem that hardly anybody knows exists. And luckily there isn't that many that listen to this podcast. Otherwise there'd be a few more now that do know it exists. But 'tis a real remote chapel. I think 'twas built 1820, and 'tis down a real long lane. You wouldn't know 'twas there. 'Tis in the middle of the countryside. The setting is handsome, and like I said, 'twas built in 1820 by William O'Brien, and that he was the founder of the Bible Christian Methodist movement. And I think his forefathers was the Groses, the Grose family. Now that's a good old local name. And they farmed Innis. And I think when O'Brien bought the land, that's when he built the chapel. But 'tis a lovely little chapel. They only have 10 services there a year. And I think that's is it the second Sunday of every month from March to December. And they don't have any electricity there, no running water. I don't know, they used to have outside toilet, which was basically a bucket in this little building, obviously. I don't know if that one's still there or no. I got a feeling he'd been scat down. I'll have to check next time we're there. But I say there's no electricity, no running water. The chapel is that small. What could he get inside? 20? Maybe 30 at the most, I don't know. And there isn't enough room to put the coffin at the front of the chapel. So as you go in the back door, the family go and sit at the front and the coffin is put back in the back right-hand corner. But it's got a lovely feel to it. And I say, you've just sat in the countryside. It is a beautiful place. You can Google it, like everything these days. Quick Google and you can find it. But 'tis a proper little place. And if I'm right, I'm sure I heard that it's a chapel that will never close. I think it's a listed building and it's got all this historical interest. I don't know what would happen if it got into real bad repair and needed a lot of money spent on it. I don't know what would happen then, but apparently it is a very important place that they will strive to keep open for as long as they can. But there we go. So that's Innis Chapel for you. Right, well now we will get over now to Hazel. Dear Hazel and Hazel Mitchell. And this is the second part of the interview. I did the first part. We had it on the week before last. And then obviously last week I did the tribute to Dear Tom. So this is the second part of my interview I did with Hazel. And then I'll speak to her directly, just rounding off like I normally do. So here it is. And then Lucky Dip, and then the cows for a walk at Tregunna. We can do all that.
Well, the Lucky Dip was as well up Edmonton. If we had anything, we decided to have this game, Lucky Dip. We'd go indoors and find something we didn't want.
Right.
And we'd wrap it up, don't matter what it was, bit of newspaper or whatever it was. Yeah. And we put it in this thing, and we all have a Lucky Dip out there and see what we'd want. But it wasn't a lot of good half of it because you probably had a wheel missing or arm missing on a dole or something.
Yeah.
It was all good fun, you know.
Yeah.
As I say, we never had much, but we made our own
Yeah.
fun and,
That's
you
right.
know.
And Mr. Erd?
Oh, yeah, he used to live in the bungalow on the corner
Right.
on Whitecross Road.
Yeah.
It was Anne Thomas, it is now, Anne Birchel's granddad.
Right.
Gran lived there.
Yeah.
And he had these lovely cows. He had a small, I think it was a couple of fields.
Right.
And every so often he would let us take the cows
Oh, yeah.
and take them for a walk down Tregunna Road.
Take for a walk. Get away.
It was lovely, really, you know.
Yeah.
We used to love doing that. And then we'd bring them back up and go in. We'd just catch them all, smooth them down. And
Brilliant.
but, you know, it was lovely. I mean, Edmonton was like one big family, you know. Anybody poorly, anybody would do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
anybody in trouble or things like that. A beautiful place to be brought up in.
Yeah.
You know, I think so. They were all nothing but friends and
Yeah.
families. And
That's
if
true.
I had the money today to buy a cottage, I'd go back there and live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Tis nice how 'tis now, really, isn't
Yeah.
it? How 'tis done and that. But
You know?
is that, I suppose, 'tis holiday cottages, is
Yeah,
it now?
most of them.
Yeah.
One back along now a few years ago sold for 180,000.
Oh, did it?
And my sister could have bought
Yeah.
Edmonton
Yeah.
for £10,000,
Get away.
but wouldn't allow to borrow the money. Well, memories, you know, are beautiful memories.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, I think so.
Yeah.
Up there living and being brought up there with two lovely parents that
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah.
You know, my mum was crippled, and as I say, my dad died at the age of 52.
Yeah.
You know, I was only 15, you know, but they
Yeah.
were,
Yeah.
we have good times, even though, as I say, there was, 10 of us all together in a 2-bedroom house till me.
Which was the normal, really, wasn't
Yeah,
it? There was a lot of big families in small cottages.
I mean, the kids' house was a big family, and
And back then, I wouldn't say you was cut off, but there wouldn't have been telephones, really, would there?
No, one telephone.
One telephone, yeah.
that was down the road as you go down towards Pinquane,
Oh,
just
right.
past Edmonton.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, that was about all. One tap in the courtyard for all the cottages until there was, you know, the pump was there first until that was beautiful pump water. But as I say, the water was laid on, but one tap for 24 hours.
Yeah. I know my mother was talking about water the other day when she lived up outlands and they didn't have water in the house.
Now,
So that her mother used to have to go and get it from a well. And she said the most beautiful tasting water.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Edmonton has got two pumps, really.
Right.
One in the actual square of Edmonton and one out Green Lane on the Whitecross Road.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
used to have to use that one when they used to say the pump's gone dry.
Right.
But what actually they meant, I don't know. And then we used to go out there and bring it in from there in the bucket
Yeah.
loads.
Yeah.
You know, as I say, no electric up there.
No.
Such.
No.
Oil lamps.
Yeah.
And, you know, little candle things we used to take to bed in a saucer with water
Yeah.
to light up there. They always put water in there because my dad used to say, when he burns down, he'll go out completely.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was lucky to be born in such a lovely, well, to me, it was a lovely place.
Yeah. And I can't remember if we said last time, so who was in the big house then when you was in the cottage? Was that a pub then?
Retallick's.
Oh, right.
He was called Jack Retallick, and his mother, who was stone deaf.
Oh, right.
And our other son lived in Edmonton Road. He should come up from where the roundhouse was. He would
Yes.
come up there, and he had a brother. She was called Florence Retallick, brother and a sister lived there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they used to live there, but she was stone deaf, and he worked for F&J Martin's.
Oh, right.
He was a mechanic,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
He'd do up all their lorries and that. But we used to have to go down there Saturday mornings and pay rent. Sometimes I'd go down and knock the door because Jack wasn't there, and you was just told to walk in.
Right.
And she'd be doing some, but stone deaf, and you'd go and...
Frighten her.
Yeah. 2 and 6, that was a week for the cottages.
So when you was young then, who lived in the roundhouse, the toll house?
Told us, Terry Hawke.
He was there then with Mother, Miss Hawke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry Hawke and Ada.
Yeah.
Ada, she was called, and I think it was her brother, I'm not sure. He used to be a Sunday school teacher up White Cross called Jack.
All right.
Jack Hawke, you know.
I don't know if they're doing up that place now because it went down really, didn't it?
Yeah, it's been sold.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and they're doing it up. First time I actually, we went up round there to see, well, back 12 months ago. It had been up for sale.
Right.
We went up there just to look to see how, well, it was in a terrible state. The door was open.
Right.
So we walked in and looked around.
Did you?
Supposed to, I don't know.
I won't tell nobody if you've done that.
But it was the strangest house. There was no bathroom.
Right.
No bathroom. A sink with some water, water. A very tiny lounge or living room. Yeah. Very tiny. I think if you've got a 2-seater settee and then that would fill it up. The stairs were very strange, went up very strange, and there was 2 very small bedrooms, really old-fashioned lighting. Yeah. There were lights left in.
Yeah, because you don't think of that, because it obviously looks small from the outside. You don't think about what was it like inside.
Strange shape inside.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the garden was full of brambles and reeds, and now they've done it. The actual garden, really, goes right up to the actual road.
Does it?
Up the top.
Cool. Well, quite big then.
You know?
Yeah. Because I remember the old road used to go round it, didn't it?
That's right.
Right on the bend there, and then the road would go down to Brioc,
That's it. But I know it's been sold, because when we came down, 2 ladies came to the door. And she said, are you thinking about buying this? Oh. I didn't know who they were, see. No. I said, oh, yes. We walked down.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so I don't know what went for, what it was sold for. No. I don't know.
You could have ended up on Crime Watch.
I could, really. Wouldn't be surprised if I had been before.
Oh, brilliant.
Boy.
And of course, Tollgate was the garage there then, when you was young?
Tollgate.
And the other, there was one opposite Showground as well,
but they closed that one down. I don't know why, I don't know, but they shut that one down opposite Tollgate. Yeah, we'd go down there quite a bit. Yeah. To take me dad's accumulators in to be charged up, you know. Yeah. And I always remember when Mrs. Orkey there used to be there, and we used to be allowed to go around singing carols. All right. Well, quite a few of us would go singing carols, and she always said to us, don't come down until 6:30. Right. So the boys can hear you singing before they go to bed. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Oh. We used to have to go down there first, you know.
So what, Mrs. Orkey, was that one Gisela, was it? Yeah. Was that the, Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I always remember when she wrote the book. Right. You know, about her history. Yeah. And I saw her one day in the town hall, and I said to her I'd bought the book, and she said, I will sign it for you. You come up to my place. Yeah. And I remember going up there and taking the book up, and she signed it. God. So I know we've just had the Royal Cornwall show. Yeah. Would you have gone over there much when you was younger, or no? Though? No, I actually worked up there for about 15 years. Right, yeah. All the year round, sort of weddings, christenings they had there.
and the caravan rallies they had there. And then at the show time, me and my sister used to go up there to work.
Right.
And we started off first cleaning toilets.
Right.
And it was funny because that was one of the best jobs I think. The laughs and that we had was one of the best jobs I think we had. From there to even waiting on Princess Alexandra when she came there.
Oh.
Yeah, done piles of things up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Albert Riddle was the best boss I think I've ever had.
Lovely chap.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started up there, I forget what he actually done to me. It was someone to do with my coat and that. And I said, that's right, my lad.
Right.
The night's not finished yet.
Right.
And he was there in between. I'd nipped down, stitched the sleeves of his coat off so we couldn't get it dark. Brilliant, you know?
Yeah.
We'd have all things like that, you know, and
Yeah.
all the people that work there were lovely. I mean, worked with Andrew Eddy, Bruce Eddy,
Yeah.
Jeff Eddy, you know,
Yeah.
and all of them up there. And Albert was lovely
Yeah.
when they would have shows in what's called the cattle shed in the bottom, have Radio 1.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, once, because I couldn't behave myself, they put new dustbins out. They picked me up, folded me in half and pushed me back down in the bin and I couldn't get out. And all the people was coming in and I was stuck in the dustbin. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And Albert would have the fish and chip van outside and he'd say, now when this all finished, he said, don't you going home, I want you to come inside. He'd call it inside the tent and order fish and chips for everybody. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Lovely. Okay, Dad.
All right. So thank you, Hazel. That's been brilliant. That's helped me out a bit as well. So if you'd like to say goodbye to everybody again.
Goodbye, everybody. Everybody take care.
Proper
Bye.
job. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Dave, dear.
Proper job. Thank you, Hazel. That was booty. Next week, I've got to start editing yet, but just to give you a clue, we're talking about cousins that I saw this week. Next week is one of my cousins. I popped up to Camelford to see him and his family, and I'll give you a clue. If you love motorbikes, you'll love the podcast. I won't say no more than that. For me Cornish word of the week, I thought I'd do a place name this week. And we did mention Penwithik earlier when we was talking about the Eden Project. And that's what I thought I'd do. If you don't know Penwithik, 'tis a little village set in the clay country. You've got all the clay tips surrounding it. Most of them now are covered in greenery. And we used to go through it when we used to go to St Austell Sixth Form. I said before, you leave Wadebridge to a sunny, you get to Penwithik and the mist would start. And as you was heading to St Austell. But 'tis a lovely little village, really, Penwithik. And they think it comes from the Cornish. I think 1357 was the first time that it was mentioned anywhere, perhaps in writing or whatever. But they think from Cornish, it means top of the patch of trees. Top of the patch of trees. So there's obviously valley there with all forest or whatever. But that's what they reckon that Penwithik comes from. And from a Cornish dialect, this one come from Char, which I've heard many times before, but I'd forgot all about it. And I'm sure we used it on here. And he actually mentioned it today. And I said, Char, I'm going to write that one down before I forget. And I'll do it from my podcast. So you would say it if somebody was looking affectionately at somebody else. So if somebody was gazing over with love in their eyes or anything like that, you would say, God, look at he. 'Tis like a cow looking at a calf. 'Tis like a cow looking at a calf. So there we go. Right. Well, there we are. That's it for this week. I got a hang of a week next week, I'll tell you. Didn't all work either. There is a little bit of a social life I got on next week. But I'll fill you in next time. And then next Friday is gonna be a very interesting evening. But I will tell you about that next week, or I might leave that to the week after because, I don't know what I've let myself in for, really. But anyway, I hope you have a good week. Wish you well. Duganas, Kerno Biswicken.